Israel Keys didn't follow a pattern. His victims weren't connected, and his crimes were spread across the country with no clear link, leaving investigators baffled. But what they didn't realize was that some of it had been planned years in advance, hidden in places no one would ever think to look. To understand how Keys became what he was, we must go back to the life he was born into. Before we dive in, stay tuned for weekly true crime videos you won't want to miss. In 1978, Israel Keys was born in Utah, the second of 10 children, growing up in a family that lived far removed from society. They relocated to a remote cabin on Rocky Creek Road in Colville. No electricity, no running water. Some of the children slept in tents through the harsh Northwest winters. His upbringing was shaped by the Christian Covenant Church, an extremist white supremacist survivalist group. It was a world where outsiders simply weren't trusted. Young Israel spent his days hunting, chopping wood, and working on nearby farms. In his free time, he was often alone in the forest, learning to track animals and move without making a sound. Even as a boy, Israel's presence began to unnerve those around him. He admitted to shooting BB guns at neighbors' houses and starting fires in the woods. He stole firearms and sold them to local residents. He also broke into houses with another youth who later distanced himself after witnessing him harm an animal. Keys later told investigators that by age 14, he believed some of his thoughts were normal and okay, even though others did not. He said he withdrew further into isolation. In 1998, Keys enlisted in the Army, serving at Fort Lewis and Fort Hood, and spending time abroad in the Sinai Peninsula. Fellow soldiers described him as quiet and distant, someone who kept to himself. At one point, he told a fellow soldier he would like to kill him. The Army gave him structure and a sense of purpose, but whatever was building beneath the surface didn't go away. After leaving the Army, Keys settled in Alaska. He started a family and built a life that, from the outside, appeared ordinary. He ran a handyman business, lived quietly, and blended in. But amid the quiet routines of home life and work, a different rhythm began to take shape. He began committing burglaries and bank robberies, not for money, but as rehearsals. Most killers stick to familiar territory. Keys did the opposite. Everything he had learned over the years, every skill, every instinct, was about to be unleashed in a far more calculated and chilling way. Years before some of his crimes, he would travel to a quiet patch of forest in states he had no connection to, places such as Blake Falls in New York or Green Falls in Wyoming. He would scout the location, dig a hole, and bury a container of supplies. Inside were tools he would later use: handguns, silencers, ammunition, zip ties, and industrial-strength chemicals. He would bury the container and leave it there, sometimes for years. Standing in that silence, knowing that one day he would return to the exact same spot to end a life he hadn't even chosen yet. When he was ready, he would fly to a city, rent a car, and drive for hundreds of miles. He avoided using his own phone. He paid for everything in cash. He picked his victims at random. No type, no pattern, age, gender, race, it didn't matter. One case illustrates this perfectly: the disappearance of Bill and Lorraine Currier in 2011. Keys flew from Alaska to Chicago, then drove to Vermont. 2 years earlier, he had already hidden what he needed. Now he was back for it. He dug it up, broke into the Currier's home, tied them up, and drove them to an abandoned farmhouse. He killed them, then disappeared into the trees. He was back in Alaska before anyone even realized the couple were missing. For years, he was the perfect criminal, the hole in the map investigators couldn't fill. But even the most cunning killers eventually make a mistake. In 2012, Keyes kidnapped 18-year-old Samantha Cohen from a coffee stand in Anchorage. It was a brazen act, born perhaps from a growing sense of invincibility. He killed her, but kept her body in his shed while he went on a family cruise. When he returned, he posed her body, took a photo, and sent it to her family with a $30,000 ransom demand. Some of the money was paid into Cohen's bank account, and he used her ATM card to make withdrawals across multiple states. The FBI tracked the transactions in real time. A state trooper in Texas finally pulled him over. That slip-up led to his arrest. In the interrogation room, he began to reveal more than he intended. He spoke in a low, calm voice, feeding investigators bits of information while holding the rest back, as if he still had the upper hand. He laughed when they called him a serial killer, as if the label didn't fully capture what he had done. On December 2nd, 2012, Israel Keyes took his own life in his jail cell in Anchorage. He didn't leave a traditional suicide note. Instead, under his bed, authorities found something that still haunts the FBI to this day. He used his own blood to draw 11 skulls on a piece of paper. Beside them, he drew a pentagram and wrote the words, "We are one." The FBI believes those 11 skulls represent his victims. Even after all this time, only 3 have been officially linked to him. That leaves 8 potential victims still unaccounted for. But the most unsettling part isn't just the victims that haven't been found, it's the kill kits. Keyes told investigators he had buried these containers across the country. He never revealed where. Somewhere out there, they remain, a silent testament to how far he planned ahead. Israel Keyes is gone, but the shadow of his crimes lingers. The most dangerous threats don't scream. They slip quietly into our lives.